So I get a lot of questions about how do I know if the crystals I'm wearing are actually working. Well, I can only tell you through true real world experience and the testimony of my life, where before I was wearing crystals, I was still serving with the Broward Sheriff's Office in the city of Pompano Beach, where you see every type of call under the sun. And so we'll be going to a lot of these calls, we go into a lot of these homes, and every deputy, every firefighter, first or second responder can attest, there are some homes that you go into it, it feels like you just walk into the devil's lair. And the energy is so heavy that, it either makes you angry, it makes you tense up, it makes you try to immediately try to solve the problem because you're trying to make that dark energy dissipate. But sometimes you're just dealing with a spiritual entity that entered the home through black magic, through a curse being sent to that family, someone letting a demon in or a dark entity into their homes. And sometimes people just snap on each other because we have so much eternal turmoil going on that it manifests into a demonic act. However, like I said, the spiritual realm is the unseen realm. So a lot of people who don't have the sixth sense, they can sometimes feel the heaviness, but they can't quite tell where it's coming from. Well, as I was beginning to awaken more and more during my time in law enforcement, it got to the point where I can just see certain homes, certain people can feel the negative vibration emitting off it. And I'm like, oh crap, I have to walk into that and I'm going to receive or feel everything. Doesn't mean you consume it, but you're going to feel it, just like if you fall in the pool. You get wet, but you have to dry yourself off. Drying yourself off would be like the grounding and stuff like that, whatever. And so it got to the point where I'm like, all right, spirit, what should I be doing? Because I'm feeling all these energies. And, there's times where you take that energy home. There's times where you feel after they start saying the things that they said during like a Baker Act, that you will start thinking that you see the same apparitions. You start to feel the same crawly, pointy, whatever. It's a lot of weird things. And we're not crazy anymore in 2026 because, come on, our government is eating children. I mean, that gets wild, doesn't it? And we're doing it for sacrificial things and all these things are going crazy. So they say the truth sometimes is more unrealistic than the lie, or something like that. Long story short, I make a trip to a crystal store, and this was before my journey to Egypt, and my spirit told me to find a black tourmaline bracelet. Something to ground me, something black, and something simple. So before I had a whole wrist full of crystals, I'm not wearing it anymore because it served its purpose, but I had a nice small black tourmaline bracelet that I held on to, and I wore it every day since I got it in law enforcement, and that was like the first crystals I had when I started to travel. And I still felt those negative energies coming towards me. I can still see, even with more precision, the bad vibes that were coming off other people's. However, I started to realize I wasn't absorbing so much of the negative energy. And if not, there's times where I'll walk into the home knowing it's about to go down, and all my partners are already, looking, feeling that heavy energy, but I'm calm and collected, and I'm able to speak and solve a lot of our situations without having to escalate, just because I'm able to perceive the negative energies that are working through the home, and then I know and have the right words to speak to that man or woman or child to dissipate or cause that heavy energy to go to rest. And so those were the beginning situations of me starting to see the power of crystals, just by seeing in real time how my aura was protected when I was going to so many heavy homes and so many dark calls that really mess up with a lot of law enforcement and first responders and people who are in the medical field minds, because we're not only fighting a physical war, but it's also spiritual. So yeah, that's a little story about how I got introduced into crystals and actually started to wear them, because hey, how do we protect our spirit? How do we protect our mind and soul from the things that we don't see? don't feel immediately, you know. So